held a major hearing on the alleged genocide of Christians yesterday in Nigeria. Lawmakers expressed deep concern over rising violence, with some urging tougher U.S. action, while others warned against oversimplifying the conflict as purely religious. The hearing called for stronger protection of vulnerable communities and greater accountability from the Nigerian government. Over in Nigeria, separatist leader Nnamdi has been sentenced to life imprisonment by a federal high court in Abuja. The court found him guilty on multiple terrorism-related charges. While prosecutors sought the death penalty, the judge ruled for life terms to run concurrently. KANU'S lawyers say they will appeal the verdict. Let's take a look at the video from KANU'S legal counsel before we return to the studio.
Heading to the Court of Appeal, but as a responsible citizen, I'll see this opportunity to call for calm. I don't want anybody to get so angry in the Southeast that some violence will start occurring from here and there. Let everybody be calm. This situation can be controlled. We have the next court in the chain, which is the Court of Appeal, and we're heading to the Court of Appeal.
And how optimistic are you that the Court of Appeal would either upturn or upheld this judgment?
Can my colleague take that question?
Yes, please.
Sure, please.
Well, thank you very much. We are very optimistic because in the first place, from the analysis my Lord gave, you will find that my Lord was not able to pinpoint at any one single person who carried out any of the acts that Nnamdi Kanu is said to have incited. You said Nnamdi Kanu incited killing. You didn't bring one single person who said, yes, I was the one who was incited. So, to me, I felt that it was the court giving evidence.
Alright, we just saw that video, and this was immediately after the sentencing we heard yesterday evening. Now, this is the legal counsel of Nnamdi Kanu, and I'm starting with you, Ifoma, because I remember when we were having this conversation yesterday evening, you asked a very interesting question. You said, is this sentencing, could it be appealed? Can they go to the Court of Appeal to take this further? But now we've heard from his legal counsel that their next line of action is to go to the Court of Appeal. But I'm going to also repeat the question we saw in that video. How confident are we that if this matter is taken to the Court of Appeal, it won't still be the same situation that we heard yesterday evening?
Okay, it's such a sad situation. I believe everybody in Nigeria, this news came, some people it was well expected, the pronouncement, and to some people it came as a shock to the entire Nigerians. And talking about what we discussed yesterday based on the appeal, I mentioned the fact that there is possibility that his lawyers will seek appeal in court, and we are seeing that now that they will actually try to see if this case will be revisited. So, but at the same time, we already know the justice system in Nigeria. We are aware of how corrupt and compromised it is, and before this case can actually we can find something positive from this particular case, is going to take a long time, because it's not only about what is it called, somebody's rights being infringed. Here is about political players playing a role in this whole thing. So like I mentioned yesterday, that Nnamdi Kanu at this point is actually a political prisoner. So these people is more like a script to them. They've written the script and they know exactly how it's going to pan out. So if I'm to lend my voice as to this, I don't really see something positive coming out at the end of the day. The only positivity I am seeing, yes, in the Court of Appeal, the only positivity I'm seeing here is negotiation with the presidency, with the president, to see if maybe he could grant Nnamdi Kanu pardon as his right as a federal,
so
the president of the Federal
Republic
of
Nigeria. We're seeing
Nigeria.
that there's a possibility. They have also confirmed that possibility that they will be headed to the Federal Court of Appeal to appeal this particular case. Mr. Ugochukwu, you were not here yesterday evening where we talked about the breaking news of Nnamdi Kanu being sentenced to life imprisonment based off of the terrorism charges against him. So I would love to get your reaction to that sentencing first before I ask further questions.
Okay, so first I would say that I'm not surprised by the judgment that was delivered yesterday. If you remember, I think sometime last week I I talked about something like this happening, either them giving him either the death sentence or life imprisonment, and eventually it's happened. But then one thing I will continue to say is that it is not new to us that this Nnamdi Kanu's case is highly political, and now it is now looking like selective justice. Selective justice, exactly, because I saw that the ISWAP leader was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment, and we know ISWAP is a terrorist group run by extremist Islamists, people who have done more harm than Nnamdi Kanu. And how come if he is sentenced to 20 years, Nnamdi Kanu, a leader of the self-acclaimed leader of the proscribed IPOP group, why should he be sentenced to life imprisonment? Although I'm not trying to defend Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu has done his own harm. He has done some bad, but then let justice be justice. If you want to truly serve justice, then the justice should not be selective like it is now in Nnamdi Kanu's case. And again, I think that one of the reasons why it is this way is because Nnamdi Kanu is not just a freedom fighter like he calls himself. He poses a threat to the political ambition of some of these highly political figures.
Political ambition?
Yes. He poses a threat to the ambition, even some of the Southeast leaders. That is why some of them are not coming out to say anything about it. And you know that Nnamdi Kanu he's seen as a messiah by some. So I think that cases like this should be handled very. It's not something you just because you want to silence him, you just no. It will cause more harm. It will raise more issues, even here at home in the Southeast and at other parts of Nigeria.
Okay.
So
you think that there was selective judgment when it concerns
his case was highly political. They just wanted to do away with him.
You mentioned about Southeast as well. You talked about some Southeast governors not supporting him because of personal political ambitions. Let's take a look at that, since this trial has been in the public's eye, and even with this judgment, what has been the stance of some Igbo leaders and Southeast governors as regards this particular case? Most
of them have been silent about it. I remember when Showore wanted to organize a protest that free Nnamdi Kanu, he said that he would set aside all his political grievances with opposition, and that he is happy to come together with all of them to go and pursue this case for the freedom of Nnamdi Kanu. And whenever things are happening, I like to state it that way. Mr. P2B, he kept silent on that. He kept mute. He did not want to associate himself with it, and that is very, very bad. It was to save his own political ambition. It's as simple as that. Okay. He did not say. We saw even people from the House of Rep coming out, even Ojikalu, the deputy speaker, he joined the movement, although he was doing this way because he said the matter is still in court, so he would not like to go and do anything that will harm the matter legally. But I wish to condemn Mr. P2B's act of not speaking up in that a sensitive case like this. I'm not trying to be tribal because he's an Igbo person, but for someone who is aspiring to become the president of this country, you have to talk about these things, how it affects your country, and then particularly your tribe, where you are coming from. So what I feel now is they mentioned about going to the appeal courts, and we know how the Nigerian judicial system is. The appeal court might not be the best thing for them. Let me give you a framework of something that have happened before. Sometime in 2006, when P2B was impeached, when he became governor and they rigged the election, a court delivered state high court here in Anambra delivered judgment that his impeachment was legal, that he should, and then also there was something P2B did. He appealed he filed a form in the appeal court, and eventually the appeal court listened to his case, and they took the case to the Supreme Court, and eventually P2B was later reinstated as governor. This shows us that the appeal court worked, but then it took almost 3 years for him to be reinstated as governor again. And it was even just a state case. Imagine now a federal case that has to do with terrorism. So I think
you're thinking that with what we've seen in the past, with the history of the Federal Court of Appeal, that this case might be
it will do them no good. The best thing for them to do is call all the political stakeholders in the Southeast. They can do now. The case is no longer in the in the judiciary. It is now the executive. Even if it's not a full pardon, political stakeholders, they can affect how this it turns out. Yes.
You know, still talking about the protests, let's touch a little about the protests that before now, right, led by Omoyele Sowore. During that period, we saw what happened in Abuja, and like what Mr. Ogochukwu is saying now, he called for collaboration from all fronts, but we saw that he was still the person that spearheaded that particular protest. Now, even after that protest went on, we saw the police coming out to try and stop them from accessing certain places in Abuja. So let's talk about how do you think that particular protest, if at all, influenced what we saw yesterday in the court?
Okay, I might not really have the right indices as this particular question you asked, but I believe that what we saw that day was Sowore coming out to speak on the selective justice system in Nigeria and how justice has continuously been sacrificed on the altar of politics. That's basically what he's saying, and he came out to clamor, he came out to protest with a lot of people on the freedom of Nnamdi, because this is no longer about someone's political ambition. At this point, it is about someone's right, and which has been infringed. So it was quite appalling that a lot of southeastern governors, a lot of political kingpins or leaders, none of them or some of them came out to support that particular race, while some didn't support, just like what Mr. Ugo said, that they have political ambitions. We are seeing a lot of defections from the southeast. We've seen that even the governor of Enugu State has defected. During that protest, I didn't hear him lend his voice. That's because he has his own personal agenda. So it is quite sad that that we couldn't actually protect our own when our rights are being infringed. This is, you're talking about Nnamdi's case, and you're saying that he is inciting violence. He was the one that incited the NSAS violence. He was not. I was listening to one of the interviews in Arise News with Nnamdi, one of Nnamdi's legal representative, and he was saying that the comments Nnamdi made during NSAS was in a different land. It was in UK, and we've seen a lot of people come out to incite violence, and you don't prosecute them, you don't arrest them. We remember the case of this Sunday Igboho, which is almost the same thing that happened with Nnamdi, this same case that we're talking about. We know how he fled to Benin Republic, and how he was arrested and stayed in detention in Cotonou, and after everything he was brought back to Nigeria, and that was how the entire case died. Right now he's living freely, but because of the fact that Nnamdi is an Igbo man, that is why they want to keep on holding him in detention till the end of his lifetime, and it's quite sad.
Because of that, now we are still talking tribes, still talking sectionist movements, and even as that is still an ongoing conversation, we must bring our attention to what happened yesterday at the US Congress, the debate that was held yesterday as to the genocide against Christians in Nigeria. We'll take a look at that video and then we'll return to the studio.
Are we frenemies? Are we, what are we?
We're friends. And I'm sorry, I actually missed your original question, if you could repeat.
Yeah, I'm just asking, could you elaborate on the relationship between Nigeria and the United States? And do you think that continued inaction on religious freedom issues will harm our relationship going forward? Does Nigeria, are they hearing the messages that are coming from our president, from the United States, about the concern of genocide? And not just, I realize there's people that are being killed that are both, Christian and non-Christian. But that this sort of violence is just cannot be tolerated.
Well, if they weren't hearing it before, they're definitely hearing it now. And I think, as I've mentioned before, there is an opportunity, and an opportunity that should not be missed in the way we convey as the U.S. how we want to work with Nigeria on this issue. The framing of the engagement really matters. And I think this is where the US has to be strategic in its partnership. The partnership with Nigeria, as you rightfully mentioned, is one of our most important partnerships on the continent. As was mentioned, by 2050, the population of Nigeria will surpass the population of the United States. So this is definitely a relationship that we have to keep and build, but approach our dialogues from a place of honesty. And I think what we have going now in this relationship is that the Nigerian people, there is a wide acknowledgement by the Nigerian people that something needs to be done and done quickly about the levels of insecurity in the country.
Do you think the Nigerian government is capable of putting a stop to the violence?
And then this is where I say that with the Nigerian government actually looking at where the inefficiencies lie or where the weaknesses are within its institutional capacity. And I think this is where, again, being able to differentiate what are institutional weaknesses and then what is just plain lack of political will.
Yeah.
And I think there needs to be an admittance of where the areas of weakness lie. And there are some clear areas of weaknesses.
I agree. And I think they should, if they can't handle it, they should be willing to ask the international community for help. I mean, you know, we should all be standing for life. No.
All right, we just saw that video. This was what happened in the United States Congress yesterday as they held a debate as to the Christian genocide in northern Nigeria. Now, based off of that conversation, Mr. Ogochukwu, I'm just going to ask, with the stance of the Nigerian government outrightly denying a genocide against Christians. Now, we heard from what she said that they have not been honest and open as to the weaknesses they face and where they need assistance so that they could partner with the right sources. Now, first of all, what's your comment on that?
You know, it was almost a case of fire on the mountain. You know, the controversy of the Christian genocide has remained dominant in the public space for, I think, for the past 8 weeks now, from government spokespersons, political actors in search of cheap popularity, and you know, different things. And for the United States Congress, the Congress is like the equivalent of the not the Senate, the House of Representatives in Nigeria. So, and to see them discuss about it, debate about it, and bring out their different opinions on the issue, it's, to Nigerians, it is a shame, because when have we seen, let's even use the Senate for an instance, when have we seen the Senate, the House of Rep, or even different state house of assemblies debate on this issue? I've seen a few videos when someone wants to speak. I think the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, on a particular sitting, he said, I don't have the right to reply. Who am I to reply President Trump? So who the issue is directly affecting, we are not even speaking up about it. They are just throwing out this defense mechanism and everything. We believe that the Senate, in fact the legislature as an arm of government, they are the persons who should open an inquiry into this controversy, find out exactly what are they even finding out, because we've seen it in the public space already. You see? So that is the issue, and it is good. It is good that this is drawing international attention, because the Nigerian government, we've not seen them doing anything really about it. Okay. And it is us, the Nigerians, who it is affecting. Then we saw videos of a shooting in a church. You know, day after they've been hearing news about insecurity in this country, and the Nigerian government, the only thing they can do is to come out and say that there is no genocide against Christians. And I also think that Mr. President, he was meant to travel to South Africa for a trip, and even when people came out to speak about it, how can you be traveling for an international event when your country is at home, is on fire? And then eventually, after everything, decided to cancel the trip. It means that they don't even know what they're doing. They don't know how to solve it. They have failed woefully. And it is the same man, the president of Nigeria now, Tinubu. I can remember when he was how table turns fast. He was the one that was criticizing Jonathan, bring back our girls, Jonathan must resign now. Oh, Mr. President, you need to go back to your own tweets. That is exactly what it demands.
And then exactly what you said, how quickly the tables turn, really, especially what we are seeing now. And then, still talking about the stance of the Nigerian government, not wanting to admit that there is even anything like an attack or a massacre, right? They're not calling it a genocide. They are just refusing to even label the fact that a group of people are being killed just because of what this means. I'm talking about the disposition of the presidency towards security issues. Taking it back to what Mr. Gochuku mentioned when he was slated to go for the G20 summit, going to South Africa and Angola, when people came out to speak out against it, he retraced his steps. Now, going forward, do you think that this is an ideal type of government? A government that is reactive, or cares so much about the opinion of other people before it does what it's supposed to do? Moving forward on the long term, how sustainable is that form of government?
It is not at all sustainable, because I don't think that the masses should decry every single time before you could take the actions that needed to be taken. You have first-hand information about the killings of this, innocent lives. You know about it. It's not like you're not aware of it. Okay, let's say, for example, you're trying to protect Nigerian sovereignty. Okay, no problem. We understand it that you're trying to cover it up, but at the same time, what effort are you making to stop the genocide attack? What attempt are you making? Okay, you've said there is no genocide attack. What attempt are you making to stop terrorism in Nigeria? We heard, was it 2 days ago or 3 days ago, that the vice president went to, is it KB and Kwara, yes, to visit the aggrieved, the people that lost their loved ones and the people that the children were kidnapped. Okay, what is the result? Haven't he given you first-hand information? Because the presidency said he needed first-hand information. That was why he sent the vice. Okay, right now,
one now inhabits Kwara or Kebbi State until it is.
Sharon, let me tell you the truth. We see these headlines every single time, and to be honest, I say it everything. This whole thing they are doing is copy and paste. I believe, just like what a very dark man came out to ask if the president is still alive, because at this point I'm really questioning if he is still alive. If he is not alive, let the household announce it. Let us know that we don't have any beacon of hope. We don't have anybody to protect the lives of people that are dying in Nigeria. You should just come out to tell us. And now we are seeing how international bodies are using us as mockery. If you go to the news, if you check news outlets outside country, what you'll be seeing is talk about Nigeria. We've become a national mockery, and that is a disgrace to the sovereignty of the same states that you are trying to protect. And then we saw how the lady, said the truth, even though I believe that the presidency is saying that we don't have ambassadors that will represent us on the international stage, but we are seeing somebody representing Nigerians. But what I'm trying to say is I cannot take away the fact that every single point she made there was quite apt. Nigeria has weak system. You have your strength, you have your weaknesses. Why not admit that this is actually your weakness, protecting the lives of property, yes, and seek assistance from people that are capable of protecting people's lives.
Still talking, we have less time on our hands as we wrap up the conversation. Talking about the attacks recently from Kwara State to Kebbi, we're seeing now that the people that were abducted in Kwara, there's a ransom on their head now, 100 million naira ransom on the over 30 members of that particular CAC church that were abducted, and now they are asking for 100 million, Mr. Ugochukwu. That is not for the entire 38 people, but on each and every one of them. Now, and the question really is, who is going to pay that ransom? How will the Nigerian government approach this issue? Will they still go back to negotiating with these bandits to reduce the amount, or are they really going to, go on the actual rescue mission and rescue those girls?
It's the courage and the courage of these terrorists and these bandits, these kidnappers. I don't know what gives them so much confidence. I think their confidence is that this country, they cannot do anything about it. Because
someone said, sorry to cut you short there, someone said it is as a result of the Muslim ticket because they feel that they are in power. The presidency is Muslim, the vice president is
It's clear.
I would not like to base my points on that. But do you know, Nigeria is a country. They are the ones who have been talking about sovereign nation. We have a national security advisor. The president is the commander-in-chief of armed forces. Yes. And the other day, the video when I think a brigadier was killed,
yes.
These terrorists, they shot a video, a very clean video, they edited it and they posted it online.
Hey.
But yet, when you see someone tweet when Show called the president a criminal,
you said
it was so sweet. They caught him, tracked, everything. But this, I don't know. They have video editors who edited a very clean video for them. I don't know if you saw that video. They even added background music like it was an action movie. I'm telling you.
And they were urging their members to do more. I saw the video where the stacks of money, they had money loaded in a particular bag. They were showing off with the money and they were eulogizing, telling their members to keep up the good work.
I don't really understand.
It is a normal tweet right now. You will see how DSS, the entire militants, the entire security operatives will locate that person. That's when you will see that there is anything like tracking in Nigeria.
You know what I think is, if at all it is the problem is that they cannot do it, then why still not want for help? Because when you have a problem and you cannot solve it, you ask for help. But I don't believe that they cannot solve this issue. I do not believe it. We have there is a budget and there is a fat allocation to national security in our country. What are now all the defense chiefs? What are they doing? We have an army, we have a military, and they should not. The Nigerian government should not give those persons 1 naira. They should use the allocation from the budget. They should utilize it for military actions on these people.
You know, now you're talking about non-negotiation at all with these bandits who have come out to ask for a total sum of 100 million naira on all of the abducted members of the CAC Church in Kwara State. And I'm coming to you, Reformer. First of all, the 100 million naira ransom, right? Now, after a while, after some hours, this abduction happened. The members of the church and the members of the families that were abducted said they were yet to hear from the kidnappers. Now, even before that, we heard that 7 Nigerian soldiers were shot at as a result of trying to rescue these abducted people in the bushes. 100 million naira. What way now? What's the way forward from this?
I think 100 million naira is not to the federal government, is chicken change. You understand?
No, that's for one person. That's 100 million to extend.
Okay, for one person. The federal governments can actually afford that.
But the thing is,
calm down. Since they can actually borrow money from other countries, since we want to be a nation, since we want to be a nation that borrows stupidly, I think it is time. See, let me tell you, that thing that you're talking about, utilize what you have, blah blah blah. They are not ready to utilize, because if they are ready to utilize, how many years now have they utilize anything they have? Since they cannot utilize, the only money the federal government can utilize is the money that is coming from other countries. So they should actually borrow, maybe from World Bank, or borrow from EU, or borrow the whole. Yes, they should borrow and pay off the distance.
I'm not surprised that those terrorists are asking for so much. Do you know why? Because the Nigerian government has already come out to show off. I think the president has a yacht of our 4 billion. So why would they know that this country, they have money and they like giving out, spending lavishly, so why not?
Well, I believe that this particular case, this Kwara incident, has actually garnered a lot of attention, and the presidency has first-hand information about it. And as the chief security of the armed force, #1 chief security, he knows exactly what to do to secure the lives of these people that have been abducted. I believe their names have actually been released. I saw it yesterday. A lot of them had been released. So the federal government, the presidency have first-hand information. He should know exactly what to do. If it is to borrow money to rescue these children, he should go ahead and borrow money. Calm down. Calm down. At least I know. At least, see what I'm saying.
I'm just sorry to cut you short. We've run out of time. A whooping sum of 3.8 billion naira is what the kidnappers are demanding for from the families of these people that they have abducted in Kwara State. Now, this is a ridiculous amount of money. Now, still talking about finally about the amount that they have come out to give and the past relationship with the government has had with bandits, sending the likes of Gumi to try and understand the pulse of these people, and the Gumi coming out to say that these terrorists actually protect our bushes and protect our forests, and therefore he even went as far as addressing them as his sons. Now, with things like this happening, when you have a personality, and Gumi does not hold any political position in Nigeria, I don't know if he holds a title, a traditional title where he's from, or a cleric. Yes, he is a cleric, but he does not hold any political position in Nigeria. When you have somebody who has such an audience like Gumi coming out to say that we need these bandits to protect our bushes and protect our forests, addressing them as sons, and the need to be careful and sensitive when handling this case. Now, do you think this gives these bandits the morale to continue, or does it sort of dissipate their anger against the Nigerian government and try to disinterest them into commuting such deadly acts against people in Nigeria?
Gumi is just giving them a leverage to continue doing what. Gumi is a joke. He's a threat to this our national security.
I wonder
I don't know why. I don't know why.
Somebody is being sentenced to life imprisonment.
It makes one. At this point, everyone is a suspect, because we can start to think that the government has a hand in all these things. If they have someone, Gumi is someone who has ties with even the presidency. So for him to come out and be defending all these things, I don't know. Remember that when Shoei came out to say that the president is a criminal, well, I think Daniel Bola texted him on WhatsApp personally and told him that his statement was is bad, that he should take him down. Then for someone like Gumi, who is very close to the presidency, why is he still saying all these things and nobody has come out to shun him? Nobody from the presidency. Gumi is a threat. He's a national threat, and all these things he's saying, he's just giving those bandits leverage. Okay, at least you have someone that has the president's
giving them the
exactly to continue to ride on with what they are doing.
There's something the Nigerian government have been trying to fight, which is to actually tackle these bandits heads on, right? Which is to treat them as they should, because they have the fear that it would escalate issues and they would not be able to hold their grasp on it. But since the Nigerian government has stood the part of trying to befriend these bandits, and we have not seen any fruition from that relationship that they tried to build, what is the alternative now, Ifoma?
The alternative is simple. You know their hideouts. If you don't know their hideouts, and if you don't have the mechanism or the machineries, invite international body to help. They said, President Trump said that it's going to be sweet and easy. Guns are blazing. That it's going to be vicious. It's going to be very easy for them and smooth. You understand? These are people that understand the terrains. These are people that are well, grounded when it comes to sophisticated machines. If you don't have drones in Nigeria, they have drones, a very intelligent one, an updated ones, modern ones. So they should come to Nigeria and sweep Nigeria. I promise you, if they sweep Nigeria, those bushes it's nothing. It's nothing. Those bushes that Gumi is trying to protect is literally nothing.
Thank you. Now, we have also talked about the fact that a lot of Nigerians are waiting for the intervention of the United States. But there are some people as well who have come out to say initially that the United States has ulterior motive, and in any other country that they have been in, there is an agenda for those countries that they went to intervene in. Now, what we heard yesterday at the U.S. Congress during the debate, one of the things that the lady said there was that in a bid to try to protect Christians, if the United States should have a unilateral military invasion, that is an invasion really without the support of the Nigerian government, that they would attack and hurt the Christians that they try to protect. And I'm asking Mr. Ugochukwu, if what we have now, the Nigerian government has denied that there is no Christian genocide. We've not even heard them asking for help from the US to intervene, right? What they're asking for is for resources and stuff like that. If what we have is do you think there is a possibility that if the United States invades into Nigeria unilateral, that they would, instead of attacking just the Israelis, now affect, the Christians as well in that bid?
With the current position of our government now, yes. With our the position they have decided to stay on, that there is no genocide. The US, they need the help. They need to work with the Nigerian government. It's not something they can just come and do and get away, because they do not have the military intelligence of where and how these terrorists operate. So if the government continues to deny and refuses to work with the United States, and eventually they decide to come in to save their Christian brothers, because that's what they are saying, it would affect even some other Nigerians. So rather than the government they are just focused on 2027. With the other day, we saw the vice president going to welcome defectors.
Yes,
when we have a national crisis like this.
What about the PDP fighting?
It's all the APC government who are setting up all these things. Instead of trying to focus on solve the issues at hand, they are worried about 2027.
It is the complacency. That is what we heard during the U.S. Congress debate yesterday. It is the complacency of the Nigerian government that really worries them, their disposition to this issue. When I watched the video, there was a particular scenario, particular comment that was raised there. They said that there was an issue of a particular pastor in northern Nigeria who got information that his community was about to be invaded by bandits and raised an alarm, right, and tried to get the attention of the Nigerian government, the presidency in Nigeria, but he was ignored. And instead of attending to that claim, that cry, what they did instead was to come out with a press release saying that was fake news and misrepresentation and misinformation. And what we saw later was 13 lives being lost after that press release, which means that the pastor was right about a possible banditry invasion into the community. And also, I just wanted to take your perspective on the stance of the Nigerian government as regarding detailing or calling different things regarding Christian genocide as false and, just over-representation in this place.
I think you pointed out what I wanted to say, the complicit and the complacency of the Nigerian government. You see, you're trying to protect, I keep saying, you're trying to protect Nigeria as a sovereign state, and I keep on asking this question. As a sovereign state, how have you protected your citizens economically, politically, and otherwise? We already know exactly what's going on in Nigeria. How have the sovereign state protected its? None, not even one. No, but I cannot, as a Nigerian, boast of anything that I've gained from the government. I cannot. So what exactly are we trying to protect? Are we saying we have mineral resources? We have a lot of resources in Nigeria that the US is targeting. Please, at this point, like I said, I told you the other day, they should come. Is of no, I don't need it as a Nigerian. I don't need it, and I believe every Nigerian don't need it. People in Delta State that are actually citizens of indigenous of Delta State are not getting anything as citizens. The only thing that we are seeing is government and political parties fighting each other to know who will get a particular resource.
All right.
But the citizens are not benefiting anything at the end of the day. So what is the reason? What is the essence of the whole them coming and them coming to take the Nigerian resources? It's of no use because it doesn't benefit us. So they should come and take it.
Yeah, what I think is that the political class already in Nigeria, they are staying off from those resources. So it will be no harm if they share it with the US, because they already let them not hold it alone. Let them share with the United States.
Share with the United States. Finally, a lot of people have, when this particular trial was going on, the Nnamdi trial, there were some people accusing Nnamdi of actually being the one painting this picture of Christian genocide to the United States. Now, this was while he was in custody of the DSS, and now he has been sentenced. Do you think that theory would continue now that he has been sentenced to life imprisonment?
We've seen the US Congress debating this. Do you know what it means for the US Congress? The US that make America great again, Americans first. For them to be debating this issue, it goes beyond
hours to debate
it goes beyond any propaganda by Nnamdi. Even though Nnamdi was one of the people who was, I think he even wrote a letter to the US president.
That was after. The United States president came out to make.
Yes. He wanted to feed on that.
I think we talked about tables turning in this particular table. We remember how the President Tinubu, this our current president, and Rotimi Amechi and other his cohorts wrote a letter to the US
exactly,
that there is genocide and terrorism in Nigeria because the table has already turned. You want to pin it on Nnamdi Kanu? Jesus Christ, what is wrong with these people?
I even think that the opposition in Nigeria is too kind, because then Tinubu was an opposition. They were the ones who are feeling so much on this. We are feeling so much on this insecurity we had. That was what brought them into power. Now the opposition is sitting down.
What about the opposition? Because during the reign of Goodluck Jonathan, they had one of the most powerful opposition in Nigeria's political history, with the likes of Tinubu then, who was not the president. We had the likes of Buhari. We had the likes of strong political players who opposed him, Amechi and the rest, who opposed Goodluck Jonathan because of the insecurity. And there was a particular interview we saw with Reverend Ezekiel Dachomo, the pastor in Plateau State, who was in an interview with a British press, and he said when all of this happened, it was as a result of the opposition against the then president of Goodluck Jonathan that even furnished the then Boko Haram so that they could take Goodluck Jonathan out of the picture and point insecurity as a reason for that. And when Buhari came on board, we saw that his promise that within just a few months that he was going to tackle that insecurity. But of course, it's something that we're still dealing with till today. So I'm talking about opposition. We have, of course, we still have the PDP, who is not as strong and as commendable as they used to be in the past. But we have the PDP, now the ADC. We also have the LP. Let's talk about the part of the opposition in Nigerian politics, that if they have lived up to the role that they should be playing as an opposition in Nigeria.
Sharon, everybody can agree with me that there is nothing like opposition party in Nigeria as it stands right now. Because how many governors are remaining that are yet to defect to APC? Everybody have literally defected. And if a governor is defecting, he's carrying his group or his cohorts to defect. So there is no opposition. There is nobody to stand against the government at this point in time. Nobody. So when everybody is in a particular party, what do? They support the ringleader in the party. So there's nothing like opposition. But yeah,
what we saw years ago when Goodluck Jonathan was president and the type of opposition that he faced, that was one of the most radical times in Nigerian political history, where we saw the then President Goodluck Jonathan even coming out to say that he was taking his hands off from politics and saying that his re-election is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. And that was as a result of the type of force that the opposition showed. And they took away Goodluck Jonathan. Now, do you think that we need a re-emergence of that type of force in the opposition to bring about another sort of re-emergence in Nigerian politics?
I'm really waiting for that, to be honest, because even our own savior, we thought he was actually our savior, Peter Obi. We are not seeing him saying anything anymore. I don't know if the presidency have had maybe one meeting with him and agreed that he's going to give him a particular post, or he will hand over to him in 2031, and that is why he is just silent about the entire thing. Because at this point,
that he made.
Which tweets?
He made the tweets about
those
what
things
happened.
come on now. Even Daniel Bwala came out to say that the president can actually talk to Nigeria through X. So he equally talked through X, but who knows about it? Is everybody aware about the tweets that he made? I'm not even aware of the tweets, to be honest. So this is not even supposed to be a topic in the first place. What we need long tweets. We don't need cho at this point. What we need is Tinubu's time, he showed action. He was on the streets of social media. He was tweeting that the present administration is not protecting the lives of people living in the country. For that he should resign. So we are telling him at this point in time he should equally resign. And oppositions, we need to see ADC that have been saying that they are the strong opposition, they could stand against the present administration. We are not seeing anything like that. Everybody have died up. We need people that could stand up and fight as an opposition party. If the president is not doing the right thing, let him resign and let the opposition take over.
Now, we are at a very sensitive time in our politics, Mr. Ogochukwu, and from what Ifoma is saying, one of the strongest opposition leaders that we have, who is Mr. P2B, is not as radical as she would want. Now, right now, do you think that there should be more action, like you said when she was talking? There should be more action on the part of the opposition, talking Mr. P2B. Let's even talk Mr. P2B right now. Should there be more action? And without more action, is this something that you think would be able to be contained and would not escalate into becoming a way for these other opposition, that's the APC, to hijack it?
You know, we've observed, and then feasible study have shown that this APC government now, they are more reactive to actions. So the oppositions are not even doing anything. It's even Nigerians who are coming up to speak up, and then we see the Nigerian government reacting to the to the comments from Nigerians. So imagine when we now have a formidable opposition that is opposing them very well, giving them a very, very tough contest. It will make their house even to fall, and they will begin to have internal crisis because the opposition is asleep. They are all sleeping. Everyone is making, from ADC to PDP to Labour Party.
There is no PDP.
You're saying now that the type of attention or the type of force that we saw in 2015, 2014 against the then President Goodluck Jonathan, that we need that in our today's politics in order to see a change as it concerns this particular leadership.
Yes, we need to see more petitions.
Thank you so much to Mr. Ogochukwu and Ifoma for joining me on the conversation today. If you're watching for the first time, this is Morning Pulse on Active Citizens. We do this Mondays through Fridays. We're always here at 9 a.m. My name is Sharon Nnamdi, and I'm your host. If you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please endeavor to do that and follow us across all social media at Active Citizens. You can find me across all socials at Sharon Nnamdi. And you
can find me on Facebook at Oji Sophia and on Instagram at Misolex.
Mr. Ogochukwu.
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Ogochukwu Afuba.
So we'll come your way later today. Do have a good morning.